Welcome to the Spiritual Artist Podcast. This is Chris Miller. I invite you to join me as I interview artists from a variety of disciplines. We'll share powerful stories and lessons learned while making their art. Good day, spiritual artists. This is Chris Miller, and you're listening to the Spiritual Artist Podcast. I wanted to share a story that I had this morning and talk a little bit about what I call a spiritual practice. Some of you may not know this, but I do and provide spiritual coaching. If you're interested in getting spiritual coaching, you can visit my website, www.spiritualartisttoday.com. But let's talk about something that I focus on early in my coaching is helping people define their spiritual practice. So when you hear the word spiritual practice, some people may be weary and afraid that it connotates religion or ritual. It does kind of connotate ritual, but in a very different sort of way. When I say I am a spiritual artist, it's because I'm focusing on the spiritual essence of who we are as spirit, and how that manifests in our physical reality. So when I say spiritual practice, it's something that I do every morning to get in alignment with my spiritual sense, my spiritual presence. So for me, a spiritual practice is usually sitting down quietly on the couch. I have a book, an inspirational book that I read, reading a passage and reflecting on it. If you read my book, I talk about looking for moments of awe, and that is when you look around the room for things of beauty, things that express spirit or whatever you want to define that power, the beauty of life. And I encourage everyone to realize, even when things are the worst, if you just focus on that little essence of something that is beautiful, you will find it, see it, and make it bigger. So that said, this morning I was getting up and I was all excited and I decided to play some beautiful music. And so I put some beautiful music on. It's a coffee house station. It's really earthy, beautiful music. And I was kind of getting into the swing. And I make a special practice, and I will tell you this, to not listen to the news, to not pick up your phone, to not let the outside world in that sense come at you, because it can pull you from center. I will tell you that I am going to be introducing Susie deVille and interviewing her this weekend in her book, Bouyant. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see the cover and you can order a copy of it. Susie actually has what I would call 5 spiritual practices. She calls them the 5 M's. She labels it meditation, morning pages, movement, moments of inspired learning, and making something. I'm not going to go into those right now, but I'm excited to talk to her this weekend. She is a dynamic person. It's going to be great conversation. So follow the next podcast and listen to that. So as we talked about, spiritual practices are things that you do every morning to get yourself into alignment, to get yourself connected to your spiritual self, your greater self. So this morning I got up, and of course I'm listening to that beautiful music and I'm beating with it, but I go into the bedroom side of our house to get ready to get my shower, and my husband is blaring news. He's blaring the news station. There's stuff on there about politics and the weather, and immediately I feel myself tense up. I'm like, oh my God, why? Here I am, I'm practicing these spiritual truths, spiritual practices, and I find myself with a partner that doesn't really agree with that. He wants to listen to his news in the morning. Now, I started, my mind, as you know, we all do, my mind started getting angry and frustrated. And why is this happening? Why can't people around me agree with me? Why do they have to insist on listening to the news? And I suddenly had a thought. We can't always control our environment in the morning. We can't always control who the people around us and what they choose to do. And that is not for us to do. In fact, I would encourage you not to try. If you try to control the environment around you or the people around you, it will just lead to more and more aggravation. But there is something that you can control as a spiritual practice, and I would encourage you to focus on this today. It's your thoughts. I could control how I perceived this experience. So what I decided to do is I stepped into the shower. I turned the shower up. Of course, that blocked out some of that newscast, so I could hear it in the background. And I decided to focus on the shower, focus on the hot water coming down, the feeling of it on my body. And so a spiritual practice can also be focusing on feeling. Oftentimes, I talk about focusing on visual things around you because, of course, I'm an artist. I like to paint. I like to draw. I like to make things. But you can also focus on feeling. What does your body feel like? This is a great practice. You can do it when you exercise. A lot of people use exercise in the morning or jogging as a spiritual practice. And what they're doing is they're putting their thoughts into their body. In this case, I put my thoughts into the heat of the shower and the feeling of how good it feels to have a shower and how good it feels to have that water running over my body and how lucky I am to be alive and what a wonderful experience getting a shower is. And that I can do that almost every day, actually, probably every day, and that I love it. I love being alive. And I focused on the soap and the lather of the soap and how my hair felt when I washed my hair. And soon I realized I wasn't focusing on the news station or my partner or his choices, but I was focusing on the good because there's always good in life. So I would encourage you to realize that first, think about what did I do this morning? Did I actually practice something, a spiritual practice? Or did I get up and just jump out of bed and start working? Or did I jump to clean the kitchen? Or did I take a few moments, and I encourage not even more than a few moments, actually take the first 30 to 30 minutes to 60 minutes to sit down or walk around or go hiking or sit outside or have your cup of coffee or listen to music. Or we'll talk with Susie this weekend about what she recommends you do first thing in the morning. But I would encourage you to have a spiritual practice, to focus on your spiritual practice, and to make sure you do it every morning. So when you got up this morning, did you do a spiritual practice? Did you take time? And it's not too late. If you're already on the way to work, if you're already getting ready to do things, it's not too late to practice. When you get wherever you're going, go sit somewhere. Take what's called a clarity break and sit somewhere and just feel life and feel yourself and concentrate on who you are, who the essence of you is as a spiritual being. And that is a key to starting the day the right way. And also, always remember that when you can't always control your environment, for example, if you're sitting in traffic or someone cuts you off, or someone at work speaks rudely to you, you can control the way you think about it. You can control the way you think about it. So pivot and think fresh. Pivot and get back to spirit. Pivot and focus on how you feel, or pivot and focus on taking a moment to walk away from that frustrating experience and just focus on the air on your face, focus on your breathing, get centered, get calm, and know that you are a spiritual artist. So go out there and have a great day. Make sure to follow my podcast on Apple Playlist or Spotify. Follow me on YouTube and practice being a spiritual artist. And check back to listen to this great upcoming interview on the book Bouyant. Bouyant. I encourage you to go out and get a copy. Susie deVille. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.